Asher and Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
This is Pipeman here on the Adventures Pipeman W4CY Radio, and man, there's some new music we're about to talk about that is right up my alley. Like, I love all metal. No, let's not say all, because there's some that I don't. But thrash metal and death metal and black metal are basically my origins and my go-to. And this band is brutal, and that is like the best compliment I could give them. So I'd like to welcome to the show Chris from Backstabber. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thanks. That's our holy trinity, eh?
I know, you got that. To me, that is the holy trinity. Forget all the other bullcrap holy trinity. That's the holy trinity. In fact,
on the show?
Yeah, in fact, back when it was a lot easier to even distinguish in some respects, but it was also because there was so little of it that they always did kind of, pun intended, mosh together, you know, because like Possessed, like I went to see them when they first started and there was nobody else like them, you know, and then it's kind of funny because I was very into Venom back in the day. That was quote unquote the only black metal band. And now you talk to black metal bands now and they don't even consider Venom like black metal. So, but this new music, oh my God, Harvesting the Weak. First of all, that title alone is badass. And then when I listen to it, watch the video, it lives up to that name for sure.
Thank you very much.
So tell us a little bit about that song. We'll start there and then we'll talk about the new EP coming out as well.
Excellent. It's hard to talk about just one song because this is a short EP. It's 4 songs. It's a concept album. It's something that's been in my mind for a couple of years now. It's a book that I read called The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. Read that book a long time ago. Not metal at all. It's like a fiction novel about some dude having revelations about life and blah, blah, blah. But there's a part of that book where the author talks about controlled dramas. These are behaviors that you can use to drain people's attention and energy. And that was metal as fuck.
Yes.
So like, oh, there's something to do with that. There's something to do about that. And so there are 4 patterns. The first one is intimidation. And then you've got the poor me's, the people that are always complaining. Then you've got interrogation. And then you've got indifference. And together they form like a vicious circle. So each pattern answers to the previous one, and the next one, and then you go back full circle when you're indifferent, how you bring someone back, intimidation. And so here comes Harvesting the Weak, which is the first song. This is about the intimidator. So basically, it's as brutal as it gets.
See, you know what I love about all of that? First of all, I'm a total metalhead, but I'm also a motivational speaker. So like when you start talking about all that stuff, that's right up my alley too. And it also dispels a lot of myths about metal for people that are not into metal. Like they think metal is all about, death and destruction and Satan and blah, 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 blah. Whereas a lot of the really good metal is about things from books and from history and from real issues. Like you take my favorite all-time ever band, who is now reuniting for 3 festivals on a tour that I do. Like, I do a festival tour where I do radio coverage, and they're going to be at 3 of them that I do, and it's the only 3. Slayer. Okay. Now, Slayer always thought, oh, they're just about devil worship. Or, like, first of all, Tom is a born again Christian, and we used to laugh about it back in the day that people thought that. But Jeff wrote a lot about World War II because he was like a World War II buff. Okay. But people that didn't understand Slayer or know Slayer would have never thought about that, you know? And, you know, you take bands like Iron Maiden, like almost every Iron Maiden album is based on a book. And there's so many especially in the death metal arena, there's so many bands that are writing about such intelligent, you know, literature. And people just think, oh, they're just screaming.
Yeah, but as much as I agree with you, stereotypes are important.
Yes.
That's how you take the posers out.
Well, you know what's funny about that? Okay, so I forget which one it was. Last year at one of the festivals, I was hanging out with one of the bands, and we were talking about like how people think us metalheads are so scary and all that. And he was going, yeah, let's keep them thinking that, you know, for the exact same reason you're saying, keep the posers out. We don't need to turn it into pop. Okay.
That's why it's such an interesting topic as the one I picked for patterns of domination. I kind of twisted sarcastically. So it's a handy guide on how to be a narcissistic asshole. So it has to be metal. It has to be metal. I mean, be an asshole, that's metal, but it's sarcastic. Don't be an asshole, of course.
I love it. I love it, especially since, you know, I'm from New York and New Jersey, so sarcasm is my first language.
So of course we're in the video of Harvesting the Week, we're promoting intimidation. We're like, assert your dominance, but in fact, of course, be kind.
There you go. So tell us, let's start first with, is there some moment in time in your life where this just hit you, where this is what I want to do and this is like my passion?
It is a collection of moments. It's as much as it was the Christmas party back in the day where my cousins, Pascal and Martin, they were playing Rust in Peace on the guitar. And I was like, as much as it is back in high school when I played trumpet in the school band. Back then, our teacher was, he wrote 3 songs for us to play. They were basic songs. They were exercises turned into songs, but they were songs nonetheless. So when we played them live as an orchestra, we knew we were the only one playing that. So that gave me the spark to create, I guess. And then the guitar from my cousins. The family brought me into metal as well. I've got some uncles that brought me tapes. If it wasn't for any of them, I wouldn't be where I am now. I'm pretty sure.
I love that, because there are a whole series of events that land you where you are. And, you know, it's even funny you're talking about playing the trumpet. I was in percussion in the school band and orchestra. And I actually at one point thought of, I want to try the trumpet out. But what's funny is my favorite part of percussion to play was the timpani. And then you take a band like Slipknot, and I'll go see him. I'll be like, holy fuck, I should have kept playing timpani. I could have been in Slipknot. Oh, man.
I just saw a documentary on drumming the other day, and it was about like how back in the day a drummer, you need a drummer for each and every part of the drum.
Right.
And back in the days of marching bands and stuff.
Yep.
It took quite some time before Ludwig came up with like real drums.
Right, exactly.
Trumpet, and I did percussions as well. So
yeah, and you know what? When I first started playing drums, I had to play on this stupid practice pad, and I hated it. All I wanted was a drum set, and I didn't get a drum set. There you go. Until after a couple practice pads, after playing each separate drum separately, like you're talking about, and then I got a drum set. It wasn't like my kids. I bought them a drum set from the minute they could ask for one.
Drums are so cool. It's a fun instrument to play.
And listen, I give so much credit to drummers because the coordination that you need, like, I didn't have it, to be honest. I was better at playing the individual drums. You put the drum set then all together and doing everything at once. Oh my God, I'm in awe of great drummers. And then when Lombardo started doing the double bass, I'm like, holy shit, I can't even hit a single bass and the drum and the cymbals at the same time. And this dude's working the hi-hat and the double bass with only 2 feet. Like, how the hell does that happen? And it's just, and now there's people that are just so even far advanced from that. Like, it just amazes me. And that's why I talk about what I did before is like, a lot of death metal is really, really amazing musicianship. And that's the part where, the stereotype's not wrong, but the stereotype does keep the posers out. So, patterns of domination. Tell us about some of the other songs on the EP and how they may be the same or different than Harvesting the Weak.
They are different.
I love it.
The 4 patterns are different, so it had to be different. So each song has a different vibe. We've tried to explore a couple of niche, of subgenres of the great genre that is death metal. So on Harvesting, that's like old school death metal a bit. There's a little trashy side, but we have Langue Sale, which is the second one. The title's in French, but basically dirty tongues. So that's how we talk about people who always complain and have always shitty stuff to say. So we call that Langue Sale. Des hosties de langue sale. Des hosties de langue sale. That's how we say it in Quebec.
Which there's a lot of them nowadays. Oh my God. I even thought COVID would cure the bitchers of music festivals and concerts, because we got it taken away. And they're still bitching now. Like, Slayer's reuniting and there's all this bullshit, people complaining. Like, who gives a crap? You're getting to see him one more time, man. Like, why are you complaining?
Yeah, just don't go. Like what you like. Like what you like, leave the rest alone.
Yeah, Lisa Holt, Gary's wife, had a perfect solution for those people. Just don't go.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
It's that simple, But I love that you have 4 different vibes, because that's another thing. To me, that's OG. Okay, back in the day, the band, none of the bands really sounded the same, and they would create different songs and different sounds. Whereas I find a lot of new bands nowadays, it's almost like they follow this algebraic equation. It's like they plug this formula in, and it just that everything sounds like that. And, if you went to a gig that was like Possessed, Dark Angel, Slayer, Metallica, Exodus, it was like you were in multiple different genres, you would think, because they were all unique to themselves.
Yeah. But as much as I like both, I like bands that are always evolving, but I kind of like some bands that put out the same album over and over again.
Well, you do have to be true to who you are, like
formula, and they work on it. I mean, that is as cool as a band that is trying to discover themselves. I mean,
exactly. Well,
but
when you evolve,
yourself, as you say, be true to yourself.
Yeah, when you evolve as a band, it just means getting better, not changing. So you take a band like Slayer. They're really not any different than they were when I saw them the first gig they ever had. They just got to be better musicians and, made it more polished and more professional for who they were, opposed to some bands that like they go in a whole different direction, and it's like, but that's not who you are. I mean, if that's who you want to be to begin with, that's a different story. But like you said, the word poser, that was big back in the day, and it's like I played drums and I played guitar and then I sang thrash metal. And during that whole 80s scene, all I saw was all these bands selling out and the record companies telling them what to do. And I was like, fuck this. And I stopped playing music because of it, because I think you should just be true to yourself, like I was saying, and then people will notice.
Yeah. But being true to yourself can be as much as staying true to your old habits or being always out discovering new stuff. So, but just be who you are, whoever you are.
That's right. Exactly. So
explore. So I guess.
Well, I think also being a musician, isn't it about exploring what you can do? Like I've said this a few times before. Like when I started playing guitar, I was like just making all these weird sounds, trying to see what the guitar could do. And my dad would say, "You should give that up. You suck." And I probably did suck. But I was trying to find out what the guitar could do, and what sounds I could make. And maybe some sounds I would make, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I won't do that again. But then there's others where you're like, oh, wow, that was pretty cool. So what about live shows? What can people expect at a Backstabber live show?
They can expect a good time, that's for sure. I mean, I'm a smiley guy, so I mean, I'm always having a good time. I'm always having fun. And the way we write our music, we always think about it live. How will it come out live? So even when writing a song, writing a bridge or a main riff or a verse, I mean, it's always, is it going to be a headbangable riff? Is it going to have the drive that we want? So yeah, basically our music is built to be played live.
I love that you said the smiley thing, because there's that other stereotype that all metalheads have a resting bitch face.
Well, I can hide it. I mean,
you have to have that mean, evil look.
I used to play in another band before where I used to do these resting bitch faces, and I remember it hurt me at the end of the shows. I was like, it hurts. It's not me.
Right. Hey, listen, but it would hurt, because a motivational speaker me teaches people that it takes 64 muscles to frown and only 12 to smile. So why are you frowning? It's too much work.
Exactly.
So
we love playing shows, and not every song, but most songs, they have these small parts that are made expressly to build up the crowd, and you either make people headbang, trash, or just raise their horns, anything. But we're always interacting with the crowd.
So here's a good question. I've seen it, but not as a musician. But what's it like being up on stage, being the musician, and looking down at a wall of death? Like the perspective from that point of view.
It is. I like to go to both extremes, but it is as amazing as it is terrifying. Sometimes. Right? You don't want to have anybody getting hurt during one of the sets. So that means at some point you want people to have fun, even though you want them to mosh and you want them to have walls of death. But it is amazing to see when you see the moment where everybody's ready and they just are calling. You're like, ah.
It gives me goosebumps. Like when they're just about to do it, they're just like ready and all pumped and stuff. I'm like, holy shit! Here
Talking it comes. About Wall of Death, I can't help myself but thinking about the band called Narcissist. They're a band from Quebec. They came up with Wall of Death back in early 2000, and I remember they had one in Rouyn-Noranda, which is our hometown. It's like 400 people. 400
Wow.
people in the wall of that. Everybody in the
Wow.
crowd was in the wall of that. It's amazing. It's on YouTube. You can find it if you want. But yeah,
Nice.
that's this wall of that ruin.
Wow. So here's a good one for you. My daughter's bat mitzvah, I moshed with the rabbi at the bat mitzvah.
It's like the meme with the Meshuggah song where all the rabbis are like...
Totally, man. Is that awesome or what, man? That was like the highlight of it, you know? Oh, man. So how do people reach out to you guys, connect on socials, check out your music, merch, all that good stuff?
We're boomers. We're still on Facebook. I mean, well, we're on Messenger more than Facebook, but we're still there. Instagram a bit. We're also on YouTube and Bandcamp for anything related to merch or anything. But if you want to have a chat with us, we're on Facebook and we're all easily reachable and ready to have a chat with any of you.
You know, it's funny. There's parts I hate about Facebook, but what I do love about Facebook is some of the things you can do on there that you can't do on the others, like uploading a shitload of pics, you know, without having it be like a major amount of work. It's just like I go to a festival, I upload all my pics, and I share that Facebook album with the promoter. It makes it real easy, you know. And I don't know. I think people interact more on Facebook, but you know, maybe that's just me. But I'm on all of them, including TikTok, which, you know, if you're not on
I spend a lot of time on Reddit because I really enjoy Reddit. It's text based, and I'm a reader, so I really enjoy Reddit. But
do you like Quora too?
I sometimes I read Quora, but I'm not on there.
Yeah, I do. Reddit. I do Quora. I do them all. I got them all. But I still kind of stick to Facebook, even though people piss me off on Facebook. I still stick to it.
I don't have a lot of conversation through comments on Facebook anymore, but I do have a lot of conversations through Messenger.
Yeah, exactly. So, any final words you want to leave our listeners with that we haven't covered yet that they need to know?
Well, we did not go through the whole album. We just got we just got diverted. But if you want to know more, feel free to come by. Honestly, have a chat.
Tell me more. Tell me more now. I think they want to hear more now.
Well, we were talking about Langsal, which is pretty much about the people complaining. So it's about social media. And then musically, it's more into the core side of metal. The one that's generated the hate comments through social media. And then we have Crawling Through Your Bones, which is about the interrogator. As much as it is about the interrogator. When I wrote the song, I just one-shotted it, and then I looked back at it, and I was like, it's almost like I'm talking about a rape. I mean, it's the same kind of feeling that you get your intimacy violated when someone is just like asking questions just to get a hand of you. It's basically the same feeling. I mean, so yeah, Crawling Through Your Bones, which is a little bit more into blackened death metal. And then the last one, Snitches Get Stitches, which is about the indifferent people. So it's really fucked up. I guess it's our most technical song.
Okay.
So I wouldn't dare to say it's tech death because I don't consider myself as good as a guitar player, but definitely it has a hint of it. And
I love the name.
I got a friend of mine who, when I told her about that name, I was thinking about it. She was like, "Is that like a rap song or something?"
Oh, that's so funny. I could see that too. I could see somebody thinking that. That's so funny.
But it was about indifference. But as much as it is indifference, Snitches Get Stitches. It's a mojo about the gang culture where keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
So the less you say, the less you risk.
Sometimes that's actually like a real good words to live by in every area of life, to be honest. Just like we don't want these pop people to know that metalheads are actually nice people. Oh man, well,
In
I gotta
Quebec,
tell you,
most metalheads, most singers are teachers. Most singers in Quebec are teachers.
really,
Whether
I
it's
didn't know
history
that.
or French or English or a lot of metal singers are teachers.
See,
Like
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
on Facebook, I really enjoy to read Pat Loisel from Augury. He's a history teacher. He's a history teacher. He always have really fun stuff on Facebook. Honestly, he's a huge poster, so he's really enjoyable to read.
So I'm in Costa Rica right now, and a lot of your people are here. Like a lot of Canadians come to Costa Rica. A lot. But I do like Montreal is one of my favorite cities. I remember back in the day, I went to Montreal, and I was a huge Devils fan when Jacques Lemaire was the coach. And in New Jersey, where I was from, you had the rivalry between the Devils, the Rangers, the Islanders, and the Flyers. And like very few Jersey people were into the Devils because, when you're like my age, you first were a Rangers fan or an Islanders fan or a Flyers fan and then became a Devils fan because Devils didn't exist. Like when I was a little kid, there was no Devils in New Jersey, so I was a Rangers fan. But then once I became a Devils fan, it was like you would yell Rangers suck and, use the rivalry. So it was funny because I remember so clearly I was at this bar in Montreal and I was wearing a Devils ski jacket. It was in the winter. And everybody was so nice to me because I was wearing a Devils jacket. And I'm like, this is strange. I have to leave my home state, home country to go somewhere else to be appreciated for my home team because they all loved Jacques Lemaire, And
wouldn't that have been the same had you had a Boston Bruins?
Yeah, no, that would not have been the same. And as a matter of fact, I have a story about him where our main studio is. Jeremy Jacobs, the owner of the Bruins, lives there. And he started this whole political thing there because him and the other richest guy in town have this whole rivalry. And like they made the whole town pay for it. And he's an asshole. So I was really not a Bruins fan before. And now I'm like super not a Bruins fan.
but it is funny what you said about being a Devils fan because back in the day there were no Devils. Here in Quebec, it's the opposite. We have kids who are Nordics fans.
Oh, really?
Quebec Nordics, they don't exist since is it?
I know, right?
89, 90? I thought. Yeah, I mean they were sold to Colorado. They became the Avalanches.
I know. And you know what's funny? Do you know where the Devils came from? They were originally from Colorado.
Oh, yeah. They're the Colorado team that moved. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we got the Colorado team. You guys gave Colorado their team. Oh, man, that's funny. And I have to say, I've been to multiple areas of your country. I like your area the best. It's like just to me.
It's called the beautiful province.
And then like to me, I remember when I went to Montreal, I was like, this is what New York was like 20 years ago. Me and 20 years ago, then when I was thinking about 20 years ago because it's like what an amazing city. And what blew my mind was the underground malls, those 12 malls underground. I actually went through every one of them. And what a cool way to get around the city when it's freezing above ground. So, yeah.
The underground city of Montreal is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And I just found the people, the city, all the areas surrounding. And, I live part of the year in Florida and part of the year out of the United States. And the part I live in Florida, my landlord who I rent from is from in Quebec. So I'm like surrounded by Canadians. I like them. I like them better than my people now anyway, because my people are becoming a bunch of assholes.
Yeah, we've got a lot of Quebecers in Florida. They're called snowbirds.
Yeah,
when
so
the winter come over here, it flies out.
So yeah, in Hollywood, Florida, near Fort Lauderdale, it's all French Canadians. Like everybody there is a French Canadian. So there it is. Well,
yeah, that's as much as we're bilinguals. Older generations are more unilingual French, and so it probably speaks French a lot in there. Eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm guessing a good proportion of them does not speak English at all.
Probably not. Well, that's like in Miami, Spanish is the primary language, English is second. I took my daughter someplace in Miami and she was trying to order and they didn't understand her. I'm like, yeah, they don't understand English here. Here, I'll order for you.
You feel just like Francophones in Montreal sometimes.
Oh, really?
Well, those that only speak French, yes. Sometimes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thailand,
that makes sense.
To expect being served in English.
And, it's funny because then you have I also cover Hellfest. And so a lot of people there, they don't like to speak English at all. But it's funny that the French in France too, that they sound different than the French in Montreal, Quebec. And then I'm taking this immersion Spanish class here so I can be even better. And there's a girl in there that she was speaking French. And it was funny because I was like, so are you from Canada or are you from France? And she goes, I'm from Belgium. And I had forgot about that one because we had a studio in Belgium for a while and I forgot, oh yeah, they speak French too.
Yeah. And they have that, the numbers in French, how fucked up they are? But
Tell me.
Belgium doesn't have that.
Really?
Yeah. It's called a vicesimal numerical. It's based off of 20. That's where you got 4 20s for the number 80. But in Belgium, it's called octant, which is octo from octo 8. So
interesting.
Yeah.
It's so wild to go around the world.
Languages are cool.
Yeah. It's so wild to go around the world and find how things are done differently. Even that's one of the reasons I'm taking a class here is because how they speak Spanish in Costa Rica is different than how they speak in Spain or Mexico or Puerto Rico. And I over the weekend, I took a trip down to Nicaragua and they speak it totally different too. And they all have different words for things. Funny story. So we had these Argentinians doing a show on our station because where our station is located is like an equestrian mecca. And so there's a lot of South Americans there that are in the equestrian community. And one day they're in the studio and I misheard a word that they said. And I thought they said mota, which I don't know if you know what that means, but that means pot. Okay. And then they had this stuff that looked just like pot. And I'm like, you can't do that in here. And this was years ago when it was totally illegal. And they started laughing. They're like, no, it's not mota, it's mate, which is this tea that Argentinians drink all day, every day. And it's an herb and it looks like it's pot. And of course, mota, mate, you can mishear that.
Oh, yeah.
So it was so funny.
But even now that it's been legalized in a couple states in the US and Canada, it's been legalized for a couple of years, but it's still not as socially acceptable as beer, let's say.
Yeah, in the States, it depends on where you go. Because in California, it's kind of ridiculous. It's almost too extreme. It's like people are stoned all day, every day, and it smells like pot everywhere you go. Even I went to Rainbow on the Sunset Strip not that long ago. People are just sitting at tables smoking pot. I'm like, that's weird. Whereas now you go to Vegas, you can buy it, but it's illegal to smoke it in public. So if you try to smoke it going home, I mean, they do, it's Vegas, but if you try to do it going home, you're getting busted. Florida, it's still just medicinal. So there is no recreational, and you have to get like a prescription, you know, which is really easy to get. Like you could go to these doctors they have, and you could say, I stubbed my toe, and they'll give you a prescription. And
I'm pretty sure you can ask how much you need per day.
right, yeah, and the shit they give for the medical, that's like the strongest crap there is, you know. And so it's kind of interesting that it's probably the same in your country and in our country, that there's no unification. Like, I don't know. I just think it should be either legal or not legal, and it shouldn't be different everywhere you go, personally. You know, maybe a little bit of a variation, but it's not like alcohol's legal at some and not legal in others, and only for medicinal in others, you know. But that's what happens when you have a big country.
Oh yeah, and sometimes you have to respect every state's. I mean that in Canada we call that the separation of powers.
Right.
Provinces have certain powers. They manage education, they manage healthcare, and the federal manages like immigration and foreign policy, stuff like that. But sometimes they have some money for some stuff, or they want to push some stuff, and then provinces go, "Hey, it's our thing." So
yeah,
and
it's the same. It's the same in the States. Like, to me, I always think of the United States as every state's its own country, pretty much.
And marijuana fell under the healthcare umbrella, so every province said, "Hey, it's our thing."
Right.
So you can have like a federally across the board law. So it has
exactly. Well, I think everybody needs to get your EP, Patterns of Domination. It's badass, and it has substance to it. And definitely, I mean, at the very least, get off this interview and go check out the video for Harvesting the Week, and you'll definitely want the EP for sure. And
yes, it's out this Friday, March 15th. So yeah, make sure you go watch that video. It is amazing. The producers, Production Trois Tiers, they do a really great job. Everything they do is amazing.
I love it, and it was a great job. So you guys rock. I love it, and love your music, and thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Thank you very much. And thank you everyone for watching this.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.